na may gugulo sumitsu sa inski kita nonita.
Viva Tamoru.
Let it be known we rep Guam and the CNMI.
Viva Tamoru. Yep. We rep Guam and the CNMI. Right, Tomas?
That's right.
It's 9:10 here. Historic coverage of the impeachment of CNMI Governor Ralph Torres with his special report from the KUAM News team. Good morning, Tomas Manglona.
Good morning, the Link family. As we reported last night, the CNMI House of Representatives voted to impeach Governor Ralph Torres after 2 years' worth of investigations, which reached a tipping point last night. Before we delve into more of the extended coverage we provided you live yesterday, we did want to show this story from Primetime, summing up the matters of the day yesterday with regards to impeachment. Here's that story.
Ralph De Leon Guerrero Torres, Governor of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, is hereby impeached pursuant to Article 2, Section 8 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands.
Lawmakers reading the 16-page House resolution detailing the 6 articles of impeachment against Governor Torres. 15 members voted yes, 4 voted no, and 1 abstained across the board. Torres's Republican allies not breaking rank, while factions of those in the Democratic Party and independent Republicans backing Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios pushed the articles through the 2/3 threshold needed to impeach him.
We are here today because Governor Torres is unfit to continue in public service. His offenses against the Commonwealth warrant his impeachment and removal from office. And we, the legislature, the first branch of government, have a duty to hold him accountable and prevent any further harm to the people's trust.
The governor now charged with 2 articles of felony commission, 2 articles of corruption, and 2 articles of neglect of duty. It now moves to the Senate for a trial. Crowds of supporters for and against impeachment gathered outside the legislature, with many filing in to deliver hours worth of public comments, including the governor's brother.
Lo hamjuman man served and si governor in tingwa si governor kasintaw to. Ti criminal. Tad zangingwa hababa bidanya in tingwa na tazen tensyon po no.
A former confidant also speaking out in support of impeachment.
I would advise, my friend, a resignation brings unity to our people, brings stability to the CNMI so that we can start rebuilding. I hope my friend is listening and the governor in him will step up to the plate and makes the right decision and resign to bring unity and peace to our people and the CNMI.
The governor has denied all charges and maintains his innocence. At a recent press conference, he acknowledged the likelihood of impeachment and says he looks forward to a fair trial in the Senate. Tomas Manglona for KUAM News. All right, so that was our story summarizing the hours worth of public comments and also debate and discussion among the 20 lawmakers, and wanted to provide you a list of the lawmakers who voted no against impeachment. That is Representative Roy Ada, Representative Angel Demapan, Representative Joseph Lipan Guerrero, and Representative Patrick St. Nicholas all voted no against impeachment. And tonight we'll have a full story on their responses and their explanations as to why they voted no against impeachment. We should also note that Representative Joseph Flores abstained from voting for all 6 articles of impeachment. Again, those articles, 2 for felony commissions, 2 for corruption, and 2 for neglect of duty. Now, yesterday and throughout the past year or so of our reporting, you've heard a lot from politicians, lawmakers, Democrats and Republicans from both sides of the aisle. And this morning, we wanted to bring you more of the people's voice, what folks are saying on the ground about this impeachment. And first, we wanted to start with Grace Sablan Viengae, who offered public comments yesterday. And so here's that video of Grace Sablan Viengae in support of Governor Torres against impeachment. Take a listen.
Hafide Tiro, Good morning, respected congressmen, congresswomen, speaker, vice speaker, and everybody that's present here today. Listening to Mr. Bennett, I am Grace Sablan Bayangae. I am representing myself, citizen of the CNMI, speaking based off of my constitutional rights and as a constituent. Listening to Mr. Bennett, he called you guys the jurors. Let's make some clarification. This is not the court of law. This is the legislative branch of government, legislature. You guys are not jurors. You guys are House of Representatives, members of this wonderful 22nd legislative body. And for clarification purposes, we can go over 3 minutes according to your House Rule Conduct session. We are accorded a 5-minute time and another if need be. And according to our House rules, you will make the majority decision, not just you, Speaker. And I'd like to say, just based off of what Mr. Bennett also said, was that Mr. Demapon was appointed by the governor. What does that tell you, honorable men and women, that your position now is going to be degraded? Your position now is in the hands of who's going to appoint who? No. You have been voted in and seated in your official capacity because of the people, by the people, for the people. I wanted to make that clarification because we are not the court of law. You are not the public auditor's office. You absolutely are not the FBI agents. You are honorable men and women of the legislative branch. With that said, Mr. Speaker, for the record, I did request, verbal request, for the discretionary expenditure funding receipts of certain representatives, and I will follow up that with an official letter, Mr. Speaker. As a constituent, I am entitled to that. That as we place a great leader such as Ralph Torres, with what is looking now like a court of law, we now are bypassing the executive privilege, to my understanding. Our governor is the governor of the CNMI. So if you were to look at that status and level of leadership capacity, executive privilege for the president, similar to the governor of the CNMI. And I'd also like to point out, you honorable men and women that are sitting in your seats today, you make the decision amongst yourselves. And I commend you because this is a bravery act. However, have you gotten your evidence? Look across you, left to the right, individuals sitting next to you. Do they have heinous crimes? Do they have any pending cases? He who has no sin cast the first stone. But what I'd like to say is our House of the legislative branch here, how can you sit there comfortably as leaders, knowing that you have House members pending cases, and you say there's biases? I just heard David Goliath. Let me explain something. When I came back home, I didn't work for the government. I worked for a nonprofit. I didn't believe in the government. I was a bystander looking in. But when I had the opportunity to work for the government, I became one of those that realized the discrepancies, realized that there's so many loopholes, so many cracks in the system. I served under the administration of Governor Ralph Torres, and I'm going to tell you now, I've never believed in a leader such as he. Why? He walked the streets during Typhoon U2. I had to make the decision when I was a counselor at DPS, called in, 2 a.m., counselor, you are to report into the office. My son then was only 1. And I asked my boss, I'm sorry, I'm not overstepping, but as a mother, I would not leave my child behind and attend to whatever is requested. Came back hours later, met up with individuals that were out there for the relief. Who did I see? Governor Ralph Torres. Did I see anybody else? Absolutely not. Went to Rhoda, went to Tinian. In fact, even doing relief efforts, who was there? Governor Ralph Torres. I am Chamorro, I'm Panapayan. Diplomatic relationship. Mr. Ivan Blanco worked closely with Governor Ralph Torres to open the doors in Micronesia. Under his leadership, that was proven. So I like to close by saying, get all of your evidence. Spending expenditure as your impeachment? Honorable men and women, I'm sorry, but I do not have faith in the legislature right now. And I'm going to say that very clearly. I'd like us to really look closely.
Ms. Vayangai, can you please wrap it up?
Yes, I'm accorded a few more minutes, Speaker. Thank you. And I will respect that, Mr. Speaker. So what I'd like to say is, follow your heart. At the same time, use your mind and the gathered evidence, not just what you got based off your biases. I'm sorry, but what you've gathered is not enough. And keep in mind that you are not the court of law. You are the House of Representatives. So with that said, he who has really nothing to hide, if you have a clean slate, go ahead and cast a stone. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank
All right,
you.
that was Grace Ablan Vaingaya
Floor
saying
is still
she
open for
has
public
lost faith in the legislature. These public comments being, of course, brought forth before the impeachment vote happened, taking several hours yesterday. Next, we wanted to bring you one of the governor's brothers who actually testified in tomorrow on behalf of his brother, Joaquin Torres, the governor's brother, in this next clip, saying that Governor Torres is not a criminal.
Senyor Speaker, si Joaquin Torres no nanu za gagawin nanayam doon ang kasusmasin na za oportunidad pa bikinto siya sa paganogan. Mga di sini na tiba bikwentos pa ako sa obviously todam tumungo na si Lucy Ralph. Za pabisangan sa piling niyo, sa piasangan sa silunya. Lo besangan niya tumotegi jo pagugwini sa bulag sa hamjo man matatatsong pago man hamjo dan si Governor Torres. Governor Patso, Congressman Joel Camacho, August Speaker, Congressman Yumo, Congressman Ato, Nebu si Michelle Staffer. Lo hamjo ni man served dan si Governor, intingwa si Governor kasintaw to. Ti criminal. Tad zanging waha baba bidanya intingwa na taza intensyon po sogwi no. Atan afa IJGO na ebidensya mapresenta giza hamzo. Considera afa na law man maalilit na violate. Then atan por favor. Examina hafa magagogamzo perin impeach igubernun mizu gini giza Marianas. Estiayan atsa din sasangan molig bidadanya gubernur. Ibisinuta, guam, maatan mo gizelengnya. Wow. Taimanu pata duplicate si Sonia gubernur ni task force giza Maranas. Ti gubernur at sumogi todo zi. Itaramenti ita giza CNMI Maranas. Lo zangin pata kusufay na gubernur. Sa taliles nigi bidanya. Lo taatan todo lo kisa moling na bidanya. Fanano zung ginuzung zanatan maski Tres Santos na tauto manutugi pamasupote gubernur. Atan na posisyon sinong tufong gidos karnay. Zangin inaatan ni haji in representa no. Interamenti dan ni mas majurat giza Maranas mangaygi na manutugi mafasozo mafasinamzo por favor mga ma-impeach si gobyerno. Zangin patalango si gobyerno pa ako sa patanayo ni Senate hafa ta si senuzong parefa magunta siya. Netsuka maulig bidada mo. Zatizan momyo benlango so. Hindi binada niya si Selena. Tatunga di tututun si Congressman Babauta, asangan gugun malunzo, be-impeach si gobyerno. Lo hamzo na niya manggaygi gini, akas sa manggaygi hamzo gini, Congressman Patso, Congressman Joel, Congressman Yumo, Adman Manita, so insangangan niya do di si tempo, Congressman Ato, di ngayon na bin support impeachment sa intingwa na moli ki gobyerno binada niya. Ms. Staffler, ako nuevo gini, you're new. You look at the evidence, look at what they're presenting. I ask of you guys, Congressman Yang Tumay, atan por favor, afa mapresenta. Kung magawit na nahong matutsi niya gano'n na level, penimpeach si gobyerno. Pudigwa, 1, 2, 3, 4, na Democrat, hindi intensyon niya. Ufafay namzo. Por favor, considera hafay tsetsegi, hafay sesenudong pa tautota, para gobyerno, pa familia niya, pa familia nizo todo. Considera namzo, por favor, hafay namzo na munga, mabota po ma-impeach. Itsilupad gun. Por favor, hafay namzo. Jesus Masi, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Torres.
All right,
Floor
again,
is
that
still
was
open
the
for
governor's
public
brother saying his brother is not a criminal, that the governor is not a criminal, and also urging those who've served with Governor Torres to remember what he says is his good character. And in this next clip, we do know that we're just a few months away from the election, and Governor Torres, along with Senator Vinny Sablan, have announced their intention to run. Lieutenant Governor Arno Palacios, who's a sitting lieutenant governor, has decided to become independent and run with Saipan Mayor David Apatang as his running mate. And Tina Sablan, who we've had on the show, is the NMI Democratic Party nominee. And in just a few weeks, she'll be announcing who her lieutenant governor will be. And in this next clip, the NMI Democratic Party vice chair, Daniel Kiragua, offered his testimony at the House before the impeachment vote, and this is what the NMI Democrat vice chair had to say.
History. We are brought to this moment today, and not for any celebratory event to memorialize the achievements of our children and expound on how bright their future could possibly be, but rather to render judgment on your fellow citizen, our Governor of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Ralph Torres, for his willful violation of his sworn duty and infidelity to the rule of law. Thus, the constitutional prescribed remedy is impeachment. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, and members of this august body, your vote to impeach Governor Ralph Torres is so consequential because you're not only voting to impeach him, but most fundamentally, to prevent lawlessness and affirm citizens' absolute and unambiguous authority over their government. The sacredness of citizens' trust is the embodiment of our democratic system of government. I honestly thought that the impeachment of former Governor Benigno Arfitio back in February 11, 2013 will be the first and last time that this august body will exercise its constitutional duty to remove from office a disgraceful elected official. Sadly and regrettably, here we are again today, meeting in this very chamber to repeat the same process, what the 18th legislature did just a short 8 years ago, to remove Governor Ralph Torres from the office of the people based on corruption charges and abuse of power. While you may differ in any of the impeachment resolutions, none of you could possibly excuse and forgive Governor Ralph Torres of his most egregious and contemptible conduct, which is his betrayal of the people's trust. Trust is the cardinal principles of democracy. Once it is violated and destroyed, it suffers irreparable and lasting damage. Governor Ralph Torres cannot defend this government if he is not held accountable to its laws. He cannot command citizens' faithful obedience to the law if he is the perpetrator of his violation. He has lost any moral authority to govern its enforcement. Failing to impeach Governor Ralph Torres sends a message to our young citizens that those in power not held accountable for their misdeeds are above the law. An historian, writer, statesman, and politician, the 26th President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, said it succinctly well, quote, no man is above the law, and no man is below it. Nor do we ask any man's permission when we require him to obey it. Obedience to the law is demanded as a right, not as a favor, unquote. Governor Ralph Torres violated our laws, defied the constitutional authority of the legislature, and arrogantly unfaithful to the people's trust. He is not above the law, therefore, he must be forced to obey the law by removing him from the office that demands it. Upholding the integrity of the office of the governor and the institution of our government depends on those citizens, elected or otherwise, who genuinely believes in its infinite power to make the lives of its citizens better. By voting to remove Governor Ralph Torres from the office of the people, you are defending the idea that a government's legitimate and moral right to use its power is justified and lawful only when consented by the people over which that political power is exercised. For your unyielding devotion to the Constitution and loyalty to our citizens' inalienable right to justice, I ask that you peacefully and honorably make your voice heard. Vote for the impeachment of Governor Ralph Torres. It is morally, ethically, and legally right to do so, because you also have sworn to protect and defend the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. By failing your duty to the Constitution, you are aiding and abetting to the destruction of citizens.
Mr. Kitugwa, sorry to interrupt, but please wrap it up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Fundamental right to clean and honest government. Do not give Governor Ralph Torres a favor to escape away from taking personal responsibility for his covert, fraudulent, and unlawful use of the people's resources. He has demonstrated consistently that his concept of people's interest was subserviently inferior with his concept of his own interest. For betraying the most sacred power of citizens, their vote of trust, Governor Ralph Torres is a danger to this community.
Mr. Kitugwa, I'm
Yes,
going to
I
give you
will be
30
wrapping it up,
seconds,
please.
sir.
Must be forever barred from holding public office ever again. This could only be possible if you, as elected representative, execute your rarest constitutional obligation to the people and the law by impeaching him and removing him from office he occupies but has very little respect and allegiance to. Lastly, honorable members of this august body, grace your children with the honor of your integrity in upholding the constitutional dignity of the office you all were entrusted to represent. Remove Governor Ralph Torres from the office of trust by voting in favor of the impeachment resolutions and relieve this community from their prolonged griefs and suffering. Our people have endured their pain long enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kitugwa. Floor is still open for public comments.
Again, the presence of Vice Chair of the
I
Democratic
recognize,
Party, Daniel Kirigua, possibly marking the tone that will be set for the coming months, given that there are now 3 teams running for the gubernatorial seat, and many saying that, at least on the Republican side, that some of these investigations are politically motivated. We did want to end with this clip from 2 residents of Saipan who support the impeachment. They give their reasons why they agree with what the legislature eventually voted to be the second impeachment in NMI history.
The comments.
Good morning. My name is Florence Sablon. I'm a voter for Precinct 3. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before you today. First and foremost, I am in support of the legislation to appropriate the $1.3 million to fund the $500 bonuses for the CNMI government retirees, the joint resolution for the issuance of a new local stimulus, and the House Resolution 22-14 to impeach the governor. I remember growing out with my siblings. My siblings and I are expected to listen, obey, and respect our parents and all other elderly relatives and friends. My parents raised us to do the right thing, not only by telling us what to do, but from the examples we see them do on a daily basis. When I got married, my husband and I taught our children to do the same. If we expect our children and grandchildren to do good, then we all have to show good examples in everything that we do. If we continue to allow our leaders to do all these unethical behaviors, to not speak out against it and pretend that it's not happening, what does these examples teach our children and our grandchildren? That it's okay to continue to do these things and it will become the norm now and in the future? It is up to us to put a stop to these corrupt activities if we want a clean and honest government for the future generation. What we allow will continue. Most of our people were born and raised as Catholics. One of the prophetic mission of a Catholic is to stand up for the truth, the right, and justice. Pope Francis himself called for greater participation in politics with the view of bettering the world. I learned from the gospel that our Lord Jesus Christ came into the world not to be served, but to serve. Governor Torres, as leader of the Commonwealth and a Catholic, should know that he was put into office to serve all of the people, not to only serve himself, his families, and his supporters. I'm begging all of the members of the House and the Senate to reflect and to think about all the evidence that was presented by the JGO committee and make the right decision. We as adults all know the difference between right and wrong. I believe there is good in all people, and I hope and pray that you will all make the right decision in this matter. I was one of those government employees that lost my job because I spoke out during the Fitios administration. I do not regret that I lost my job. I spoke out for the future of all of our children and grandchildren. We need to make these changes now. The whole world is suffering from climate change because of greed and power that corporations are doing to ruin the earth. This is what we're leaving our children, a ruined earth, and we're also leaving them with governments that are corrupt. Is this what we want to leave for our children and grandchildren behind? Please remember them when you make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sablan. For those giving public comments, if you have written comments and you would like to submit it for the record, please give it to our Sergeant at Arms. Thank you. Floor is still open for public comments. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Honorable Speaker, Mr. Edmund Villagomez, and to the members of the 22nd Legislature. My name is Fabian Muña Indalecio. I'm for myself in here, representing myself. Okay, today I would hope that you will be fair and non-biased in this impeachment proceeding of our CNMI Governor Ralph Torres, who is charged of corruption. I will hope that these members will put political loyalty aside, for this should not be about Republican nor Democratic Party. This is about our people who are in fear and are in silence. They have watched and listened to you of all the evidence during the JGO investigation and believe our governor is guilty of corruption. Today, people will be listening of your decision to either to vote yes or no to impeach our governor. People have entrusted you. Do not betray their trust, for they have put you in that seat you are sitting now on their behalf, because you promised to serve in their best interest and not to the governor, Ralph Torres. All 20 of you will be facing with the most challenging decision unlike before in the chamber in this chamber of the People's House. Half of you have partaken in the JJO Investigation Committee for over 6 months with stack of gathered evidence, while the other half of you are in special reviewing committee to look over at the evidence to validate this article of impeachment. You all agreed of irrefutable facts of the evidence to move forward today now before you. So I have no doubt to believe that you will be fair and is prepared to deliver a very important historical decision based on all document of factual evidence for the impeachment of this Governor Ralph Torres. By now, you should be prepared with the understanding of the magnitude of the crime committed by Governor Ralph Torres. This stack of evidence is not just about wheelbarrow purchase of first-class travel and fishing gears. It's all about the illegal misuse and abuse of a public fund close to $1 million. So therefore, the governor is guilty of commission of felonies, corruption, and neglect of duty in violation of Article 3, Section 19 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands, as stated in the article of impeachment. Let it be known among all of you that some of you who is sitting in here may have pre-decided your voting decision since before you reported in here. I only ask this: have you listened to the people of the CNMI, what they are saying about corruption? If you are coming in here with the mindset that you will be more of protecting a corrupted governor and not for the people you serve, then you are just as guilty to condone corruption. You have no place in this chamber as a public servant, but a traitor to your people. Again, my name is Fabian Muña Indalecio, and I have volunteered to be the voice of our people who we share the same sentiment and is against a corrupted CNMI governor. I have listened and I have been vocal on their concern. Our people are angry, but are more in silence in fear of this governor. Have you done the same as an elected leader? I choose to believe that some of you have neglected this duty. Your constituent is so much in fear, and don't you deny this. Many, as they put in their own words of, he needs to be kicked out. In conclusion, I would hope that those of you who are confused right at this moment, as you are sitting on this hot seat and all eyes on you, be mindful that what you are about to decide will dictate your political re-election coming November 2022. Give your constituents the peace of mind, give them the hope and assurance that suffering must end and justice must prevail on their behalf. Have the decency and the dignity to make the decision to impeach the governor, for you know the fact before you that he's guilty of corruption. Make no mistake on that. People are watching you at this very minute as you are preparing to decide the fate of our governor to put an end of his corruption. Don't be a fool before the people of the Commonwealth and the world to protect corruption. Enough is enough, and impeach Governor Ralph Torres of corruption and betrayal. Is the desire of the people you are serving. The cries of the people in silence. Viva Toto Marianas, Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands. Estadan, adios. Adios.
And so those were just some of the passionate public comments for and against impeachment. Some of those clips, which you can find on our Facebook page, which was live streamed, include some police officers who came out to support Governor Torres, say that they've never felt more supported as part of the public safety in the CNMI. Of course, and tonight we'll have the full story on the Republican response to impeachment. Representative Angel Demapon, Representative Patrick St. Nicholas, Representative Roy Ada, Representative Joseph Lipon, all voted no, and we'll share their explanations tonight. I did want to read part of the governor's statement in response to impeachment just a few moments after the vote was finalized. The governor wrote, "It is unfortunate to witness the hatred and willful spread of misinformation from the mouths of certain individuals as evidenced by the calls for impeachment and the demonstration held outside of the legislature. I've been advocating for all of us to work collaboratively as one united Commonwealth, and yet politically motivated members of the House of Representatives have chosen time and time again against this. Instead, they have chosen to pursue a witch hunt in order to perpetuate this notion that I am a corrupt leader who does not care for the well-being of my home and its people. Those who know me and who have worked with me know that this could not be true." Further down that statement, he shared, "To say that I am a governor who has committed felonies, as stated in the House resolution for impeachment, is not factual by any means. Instead, it is an attack on my character, my family, and tireless members of this administration who have sacrificed for and served their community during arguably the most difficult times in our Commonwealth's history. And yet we continue to work hard in service of our people. The governor adds, I have said this multiple times and I will continue to say it. I have not done anything illegal. Those who choose to accuse me of wrongdoings choose to remain blind to the fact that progress and good work continues in the Marianas for my supporters and non-supporters alike. He concludes his letter saying, I want to thank all those who did come out to show their support. Unfortunately, the House of Representatives voted the way they did. However, I remain undiscouraged and will not deter from my commitment to the CNMI. And Chris, Jason, and Joser yesterday did speak with some folks who were there outside of the legislature. And they said that Governor Torres actually showed up at the outside of the legislature at the tent to speak to those who were there supporting him and told them exactly what was said in that message. So, and we also did see photos of his chief of staff, Will Castro, outside talking with folks. There were two tents. The tent of his supporters definitely much more crowded than the tent for those who set up for those who want to impeach him. Many people calling it a silent majority. So those images, but also the facts of what the outcome was yesterday, which is that he is now the second governor to be impeached in NMI history.
Tell us about the process moving forward.
So what we know is that it's going to take at least a week to be transmitted to the Senate. The Senate will have to adopt their own rules. We got a copy of the rules that were made in 2013. Obviously, it's been a while since then, and so we're not sure if they're going to adopt those exact rules or change it. But I mean, you know, probably not anything that's going to be a surprise in terms of how impeachment trials go. So,
who is in the Senate? Like, how many people? What's the makeup along party lines?
Right, and so the Senate has a large Republican bloc, and we've actually had Senator Jude Hofschneider, who is the Senate President, Republican from Tinian, on the show. Then he didn't want to comment on it, but yeah, it's and the governor has said that he trusts that he'll have a fair process in the Senate. Many people pointing out that he might have more allies there, but we'll have to wait and see. And so just running down the list of senators, there are 9 senators, and if the trial were to be held and to convict Torres and ultimately remove him from office would require 2/3 of that, so about 6 out of 9. Here's the full list. There's just 9 of them. Senate President Jude Hofschneider is a Republican. Justo Curigua is Vice President of the Senate, Republican. Vinny Sablan, Senator. He's an independent, obviously running with Torres as his running mate, Republican. Senator Victor Holkog is a Republican. Senator Francisco Cruz is a Republican. Senator Edith de Leon Guerrero is a Democrat. Senator Carl King Nabors is Senator Republican. Senator Paul Manglona, an independent, but allied with the Democrats. And Senator Teresita Santos is an independent. So,
how is it, Tomas, though? Because I'm not really familiar with the parties out there. Are the Republicans? I mean, are you anticipating that they're going to vote along party lines and support the governor?
Yes, and so by that count, 6 Republicans, and 6 is the number you would need to convict, and there are 6 Republicans in the Senate.
And so there's no chance a Republican would swing, you think?
I mean, I think it's not over till it's over.
Right. Yeah.
And if senators will do their job and hold the trial and decide then, I guess you can only be hopeful that everyone will do their job. And now this is out of, again, right, this is the process. It's out of the House. It's now in the Senate, right? And so that's what we're looking at.
All right. Well, what do you have for today?
Tonight, we're giving you the full response by the Republican Party and its members who support Governor Ralph Torres and why they are casting doubt over this impeachment, saying that it was rushed, saying that there could have been more time, saying that the Office of the Public Auditor should have been more involved if this was serious, saying that the Attorney General is the one who should have been involved, saying that the legislature has no business in doing this. And tonight you'll hear from Republican lawmakers who are standing their ground and supporting Ralph Torres, supporting his innocence, that he says he has done nothing wrong.
Is there argument that had the governor of the CNMI done something criminal that he would have been, like you said, charged by the AG or arrested by the cops?
That's correct. Okay. Yes. A lot of people saying, why not just wait? The election is 9-10 months away. Just wait. Why are you doing this to our island? Just wait. That's also the sentiment. But again, at the end of the day, it happened.
This is the process.
This is the process. It happened. You can't unimpeach him. So this is the process moving forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tomas.
Thank you.
So we're eating burgers for lunch? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think Jay said he was treating.
Right on, yeah.
All right, we got that on record.
Right on, yep. Okay, good morning. It's Thursday, 9:50. We're going to take a quick break, come back and close out the show with Cover Me right here on the link. Thank you, Tomas, for your coverage.
Thank you.
Brought to you by Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box. Good morning.
Yeah, sorry, real quick. I'm
Yeah,
hearing
Jay.
one of my friends just WhatsApp me. He said COVID testing over the Guam Medical Plaza, very, very well attended, let's just say.
Yeah, that's Dr. Berg's clinic.
Also, we know UOG's, the vaccination facility is not open today. That's normal because it's because it is Thursday.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, guys, we started the show. We did a screen share trying to book an appointment for Tizen testing for COVID-19. Sold out today.
Yeah.
They did say they would accommodate limited walk-ins. Jay, what's it look like for tomorrow? Are there a few slots left? Or?
Yeah, last time I checked on by going to tinyurl.com/COVID stops with me. Friday and Saturday they still had slots available. So,
and if you're also just joining us, we did play a great interview, a lot of information in there that Nestor did with Dr. Nathaniel Berg, who is the chair of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group. There's a little sniblet in there where he said 422 cases. Yes, it's a lot, but they believe we're going to be okay. And to continue whatever it is you guys are doing out there, they want you to continue it. I want you to do better. I don't want you to continue 500 positive cases. I want you to try and do something. The advice from the former PAG chair was don't gather if you don't have to. Okay, and the masks, right? There was also new guidance that came out